yet. Almost now. Now we are live, Senor Joe.
Excellent. Let me just get this tweet out to announce it.
There you go, my friend.
All right. Yeah, crazy day, man. Crazy. UK's coming off the rails, man.
Well, what's going on over there? I haven't paid any attention.
Oh, well, they would flip back into quantitative easing this morning, and Bank of England started buying up, their gilts, which I guess is their T-bill equivalent. So, this is kind of uncharted water. But it did seem to stabilize as the day was worn on. Everybody's saying that I guess the consensus was there was such a run that it was going to default the whole pension system by like lunchtime today. Jesus. And then they came in and opened up the checkbook, unlimited amount of buying, and it stabilized. And then they went out to the bankers and told them it was their patriotic duty not to short it. So, what do you think's going on? Damn. Bankers do what bankers do, making money. So
they have a fiduciary duty, right? I mean,
to the bank, yeah.
Yeah, and if there's an opportunity to make fucking money, they're gonna do it.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, well, it's human nature.
Do they have to get permission from us to start printing money, or?
No, they're they're like their own thing. They're an independent country.
I know they're their own country. Ultimately,
well, post Brexit, they're kind of in a different category. So
the shitcoin of the world.
What, the pound?
The U.S. dollar. I'm saying, we're in control of economics here.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we're the platform. But no, they have their own independent monetary policy. I mean, they're getting hurt, on the dollar appreciation, of course. But I think it's also to do with the change in government. It was like there's a little debate going on between, I think this is the Truss and another person. I don't follow UK politics that much these days, but some guy, Sunak, I think, was the one that the Tories really wanted, or the group really wanted, and they got stuck with her, so there was some kind of a disagreement. So a lot of them are tying to that, but I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, my wife and I always said that if the fascists take over here, we'll travel the world. Well, it looks like they're taking over everywhere. Italy's got their own now. So
yeah, well, what I say about Italy is that, what is it? Since World War II, I think they've had 67 governments in 76 years or something like that. I mean, come tell me in March if this is still going on.
Yeah,
because they changed. It's just such a dysfunctional country. That's why we like it, because it's not me. That's why I like it, because they're just not serious, and they're just fun, and it's Dolce Vita, and nobody does shit. And that's a vacation to me. So
it stays that way.
I'm sorry, what, buddy?
I said I hope it stays fun.
Yeah, me too. I mean, but Italian politics, you got to also remember there's this big schism between the North and the South, where the North is more the industry and the makers, as everybody wants to say, and the South is more not as rich and the takers. So you see this. When I was in Italy maybe 20 years ago, I remember seeing a rally up in the North, and they're all running around banging flags and stuff, and bitching about the South. So they got the same problems as everybody. I think there's always less. There's always going to be less prosperous areas in any country. But the thing with the well, I don't even know. Is it really fascist or not? I don't know. She says she's a fascist, right?
Well, I don't know if she openly claims to be, but she might as well be.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say she is. I guess Mussolini, Italian fascism has always, I remember going into restaurants and they still had Mussolini pictures up on the wall next to a, pinup calendar of some topless girls. And so this was 20 years ago. So Mussolini's still a theme within the old folk then. So they think that kind of organization, I guess, will help them. Yeah. But it's usually at the expense of the middle class. That's kind of the problem with fascism.
Yeah,
is that you get the lower class, lower middle to attack the upper middle and middle classes to kind of move them off the board, so to speak, because it's their fault. And so while the lower is bitching at the middle, the rich cats are still making bank.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds
you know,
familiar.
it's the way the world works, man. So
Hey, markets are kind of like, up and down, hanging in this range, 19 to 21 for Bitcoin, and just hanging out. But this is interesting. I clicked over here to see who's had the most gains, and fucking helium is up 11%.
there was another good article out on them somewhere. I didn't do anything with it, but they're just getting a ton of press coverage.
Crazy.
You can see the ones that run marketing, like I've seen a lot of Cosmos marketing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, a lot of PR going on there.
A lot of helium, PR, and a lot of like smaller ones that we track, like Chainge and Fusion, have been just blowing it up everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, my feed is constantly packed with their stuff. But I've been working on my lists of cryptos, and I'm not looking at BTC or ETH because I think everybody should have some of that, but I'm kind of trying to do a top 10, Joe's picks below that. And I kind of got the good 6, 7 in there, and I'm trying to make decisions on the other 3. But I'll put that out in the next day or so. And
Celsius is up 4.6%.
Yeah, that shit. I noticed last week that it was moving pretty aggressively on the bankruptcy filing a couple of weeks ago. So
I think FTX is got its sight sets on Celsius now that they finished Voyager. Shizzy said helium at $3.80.
Sweet.
And take some profit. Take some profit, bud. Yeah, you should be happy about that. Nice move.
Yeah, get your principal. Play with the house money now on that one.
The Shizzy top 10. Hey, let's see everybody's top 10.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Everybody in the Reddit, post your top 10. Joe, can you create a thread in Reddit? Your top 10 picks, and everybody can reply with their top 10. For the next 3 months, top 10 long-term hold. What are we talking about?
Well, I kind of was, I started breaking it apart into just listing all the dexes in one place and like a DeFi index. But there was so much crossover, and so I kind of, with DeFi, just sort of stuck to the stuff like the bigger ones, like, the Aves and the Yearns and the Curves and compound balancers, Lido, all those kinds of things. And then I cut a second section on layers 0s, 1s, and 2s, got all those. And then I did something on dexes and put all the dexes in there. But then I have those other 3 lists, which is like my top 10, my second 10, and my third 10. And I'm trying to get that together. And these are but it gets hard when you get to those second 10 because I don't want to pick the small ones that I think have big moonshot capability
Well, make a moonshot list.
That's a good idea too. Yeah, I kind of keep that my long list. And, but I put a lot of the cool DeFi stuff in there, like the Alchemixes of the world, the Liquidities, or Liquidity, sorry, I always call it Liquidity Split for some reason, but the Liquidities and groups like that are doing, and Anchors, the ones that are, Anchor's very big though compared to everybody else, but still it's innovative. Yeah. And I was buying Anchor last year early, and that thing will run around between like a fraction of a cent and I think 7 cents all the time. And so where it's at now, I think half a penny or a third of a penny. Maybe no, Anchor might be 3 cents. I'm sorry, but there's just room, so I put it in that longer group. But me, I'm a trader. I'm not I sell. You guys all know that. I take profits, and so it's hard for me to analytical framework look at it and go, okay, one thing is like my list of things that I think are all good bets, but you still have to look at the technical analysis before you make your call. Because I'm not looking at technical. I'm just, remembering ranges in my head when I bought and sold and where I think it's going based on execution. So to Niblet's point, I tend to try to, if by utility you mean business model or will the dogs eat the dog food? Is it doing something interesting? I don't think you're talking utility token versus security token issue. I think you're talking, does the business have a business?
I think,
and
Joe,
I
think he means utility as in use of the token in the protocol, but I could.
Yeah, That would make sense. When I'm looking, my first cut is more, do I think people will use the product? Do I think the product has growth potential? Do I think that space is an attractive space? And then what else are they doing? So to me, I'm looking at that as utility in my mind. Now, of course, if they're using a token in the platform, that is obviously a plus up. Just like when I look at, like I had the Telegram 1 ton in there for a while, pretty high, just because I love the community. But then I looked at the tokens, and they've got a 5 billion token supply, and they've only issued one. So, I'm like, that's like 80% distributions, and 4x on what's already out there. Now, how that happens, is it minted? Is it come out of people signing up? Does it count transactions? What? I don't know. But when I see something like that, 20% of the tokens have been issued, that worries me. So I moved them off the list for that. Right. So usually I'm looking for something that does stuff. Then I kind of look at the token, the tokenomics of it, let's say. And then part of that would be, is it used on the platform? Yes.
Use of token beyond Ponzinomics. So I created 10 posts. Everybody can post in the replies there for these. So top 10 chain tokens, top 10 long. Oh, it's supposed to be top 10 blue chips, not top 10 long blue chips.
Yeah, it gets tricky because, I see it's funny because I'll call them a long or a blue chip, but I'll still trade it. So it's very hard for me just to sit on stuff and hold it, which I think a lot of people want to do that don't have time to look at this stuff, 24/7, 365.
Right.
So, I kind of always have to kind of go back and look at my picks again and again and again. And again, sometimes I'll pick, like when I talk about Polygon Matic at 73 cents or wherever, to me, that is one of, that would be one of my top 10s, or is one of my top 10s. But, I look at market cap of about 7 billion, 6 billion, and I'm like, how high does that really get? I see 40, 50 potentially in a bull market, bull run, et cetera, expansion. So to me, that's something that is attractive. But would I hold it the whole time? I'd be trimming on the way up. I look at FTM, that's not in my top 10, but it's somewhere in this third 10, I think. Just because, that shit was just like $5 or something. And now it's and again, doesn't matter, but I've got it early, like cents, wrote it up, sold on the way, still have some left. Thinking about going in more, but I look at Polygon, I look at it, and I'm like, I go Polygon at this point. Just because, its chart is down a little bit too, but it's one of the first to always go. So I look at all of those things and I try to balance. And then of course, management team, execution risk, are they credible, this and that, doxed, non-doxed teams, then obviously that's not a thing for me at that point, but I look at everything else then, TVL, trust factors, all of those things. Or is it just super cool tech that, hey man, maybe these guys will pull it off, and you throw some money into it to see what happens. So it's a tough one for me. It's hard. It's a continuously thinking process for me.
Sure.
But I thought we'd start doing this because of, we talked about that guy yesterday, the day before, who was buying like 5 or 10 at the beginning of each year for the $100 and just holding them, and he goes up like 237% in 5 years, doing nothing, just doing that. So to the person we talked about a couple of days ago about trading strategies and things like that, I think a lot of people just want that. They just want some that hope they, like buying 5 lottery tickets and hoping you get one or something. But if you pick the ones that have actual business utility and have a use case for banks, Niblets. Sorry, I was reading it on the other screen. Yeah, no, I know that, buddy. Or at least 5 zeros to the right of the decimal point. So, but this is my point. They all go up and down, and so to me, that's why you got to do things like have your exit set. There's nothing worse than coming in at a dime and all of a sudden it's just $3, and you're like, holy shit, can this go to 100? Or should I take the 30x?
Right.
So pull a third off, leave 2/3 there. And yes, good point too, Sean.
John says, don't the bear market lasting through end of 2023, plenty of time to buy. And Niblets earlier said, half my top 10s have gone to zero historically. Yes, but you never know. It's kind of like that guy we talked about yesterday that was buying the top 10 every January 1st. So
yeah,
I think this will be real interesting. I really want to encourage everyone. And if you want to create a new category in there of your top 10 shitcoins, your top 10 failures, whatever, the things you bet on that you thought were going to be huge, please create another category in there. It's your Reddit as well as ours. So I'd love for everybody to jump in there.
Yeah, and also remember, what we want to find are the ones like Canto and all those the ones on the edge, the innovation edge. Those are the small ones we want to find too. So let's put a category in there for that basically, or someone put it in there where we can put all of those in, because with Canto, I mean, I don't know what's going on there as far as doxing and everything, but I think the person who wrote the code is someone we know who is very, very strong player. And is it public information, Brad?
Well, look, I mean, they forked Evmos, right? So they that, and they've since then added code to it. So it's a strong team. Scott Lewis and 2 other development shops, and now 2 other development studios have joined the contributor teams. So it's
getting traction.
Good chops on developers. They're doing a hackathon next month. So they're giving away a shit ton of Canto to people who win the hackathon with great projects to launch. There are multiple forks in the works of existing protocols that are popular on other chains. So lots going on there. A whole lot going on.
So with that type of company is the one that we should be watching. And I know we are, but let's community find 9 more like that.
Yep, absolutely.
And throw them in, because those are the ones where we can all get in and help in the testing and all that. And then if they ever do something, airdrops, or if they do anything with tokens, you're going to be in the mix on that at the earliest possible. And not like in the mix where you come in and buy you're the first one in, posting a bunch of capital and then getting a shitload of tokens and then dumping them when they go to the retail. I'm talking about where, then the community is all vested in its development, and the community wants to see that go because of its decentralization schema. So that's the type of thing where I think you get people wanting to support it that aren't always thinking about profit, but in 3 or 4 or 5 years they might be.
Yeah, you're thinking longer term profit.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, if you got the best developers and it's actually a cool idea, then let's get behind those and support them. I took for the future.
I took the airdrop for helping them test on testnet, and added a few $100 here and there to the protocol. I'm over there staking and lending and LPing and making a nice gain of more Canto and just stacking it up and having fun doing the manual compounding. There's rumors now that auto compounders similar to Beefy, etc., might be coming onto the chain. So that would be cool. But I'm actually having fun manually compounding. It's back to the good old days of taking the yield, converting it, selling it 50-50 and poddling it back in. It's actually, I forgot how much fun it was to feel like you're making money and you're actually doing a task to make the money. So I'm enjoying it. So I encourage everybody to jump over. You mentioned Fusion and Chainge. That yesterday with the founder again. And then suddenly this thread popped up on my timeline. I'm going to put it in the show notes, but it's a comparison of Fusion protocol with Ethereum. And, if people were making choices just based on capabilities and the cross-chain capabilities of the Fusion platform, there's a strong argument to be made for this chain. It's really strong. It's functioning beautifully. And there are some really cool things you can do on it. So I'm going to encourage everybody to go read this thread. I'm not going to go through all the points today.
Yeah.
There's some really cool things, including not only the cross-chain capabilities, but the token types that they also offer within the chain. So the other day, I had forgotten, but I had $1,000 sent to me on Arbitrum. And, you know, you can take that to a bridge and wait and let them suck in $40, $50 from you or more for all the fees across it. But you can load up the Chainge app in your phone and 30 chains are on there. And it's not a bridge. I can swap. So I can swap that $1,000 in Arbitrum over to Phantom or Polygon or Ethereum or whatever in whatever token I want. And it's literally like pick the token, pay for the gas fees and Chainge, or you can pay for the gas fees and whatever chains you're moving over to. I just use their token Chainge, and bam, hit go, and it goes. And this makes use of liquidity across all 30 of these chains. So they don't even have to maintain a bridge liquidity because of the way their tokens are developed on this chain. It's really
how do the gas fees compare to, say, like Phantom or Polygon? I mean, I know they're better than Ethereum, but what do you think vis-a-vis AVAX, Phantom, Polygon? Are they in the middle, you think, or are they cheaper than everybody, or what are you thinking?
It's
because I haven't used it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. It's cheap. Hold on a second. Let me see something. So bridging $1,000 Arbitrum to Phantom. This, hold on one second. Cost $1.12, and there were probably 15 to 20 transactions.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Visa charge, you know? That's like you charge something on a Visa, you know, 0.75. It's like regular, reasonably priced transaction fees. I mean, that's beautiful.
And that's cross-chain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I did that on one of the bridges with $1,000, I'd be short 40 or 50 bucks, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just all of the interchanges that happen between them, you know, it's dramatically cheaper. And I can swap. And they have futures built into the system. They have escrows built into the system. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and shill this thing because I own very little, but I'm really, really impressed with it.
And then let's not forget too, again, one of my things, execution risk, is the founder. This is DJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, didn't he found AnySwap?
No. Yeah. Founded AnySwap, founded Bitwise, founded VeChain.
Yeah.
You know,
he cranks out product, man. This guy just cranks product. And if you want to take a bet on it, well, if you're going to get behind someone that you think can execute in a positive manner, first thing you look at is track record.
Yep.
And, you know, he's got it. So to me, I mean, I don't own any of this yet. I'm you know, being stupid and waiting for a little dip here. But, you know, to me, I think this is one that would be on that, like, kind of moonshot list.
Well, here's what they're doing, right?
I haven't looked at tokens, but go ahead.
People to use the app, right? And they want people to use the new desktop web interface that's coming, but that's not their focus. Here's the really smart thing. The reason they launched this Chainge Finance DEX was, yeah, they wanted to make money on the DEX, but the real goal was to show developers what was possible on Fusion. Right. So all of this cross-chain shit that they've built into this, futures and all the other stuff that are built into this mobile app, which is pretty powerful. I'm going to be giving them some feedback on some UI UX stuff, but overall it's pretty awesome. The goal is to say to developers, look, let's say you own a protocol, right, Joe? And it's on Polygon. And you take your token, Joe token, right? And so people buy Joe token. They got to go to a DEX. They got to move, you know, $1,000 worth of USDC from Phantom over to Polygon. Then they got to swap, go over to an AMM and swap a DEX and swap for Joe token. Then take the Joe token, come back, put it in your system, blah, blah, blah. Right. Well, imagine if everybody that came to the Joe token lending site, right, click a button for an interaction and connect to the wallet. It sees everything in your wallet on 30 chains and says, hey, you wanted to put $1,000 into Joe's protocol? Well, you've got 500 here, 400 here, 300 here, and 100 here. We can take it from all those, or you can take 1,000 from this chain and bring it over. And here's what it's going to cost you. Right now, I visited Joe's lending site. I don't have to do anything except click that button, let it determine what's in my wallet, and tell it which ones to use, and boom, I'm funded immediately. in Joe's token.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So that's really Gary Gensler said Joe token is a security.
Absolutely. Oh, come on. The Uncle Joe token, that's not a security, Shizzy. Come on. The Uncle Joe, we're issuing tokens soon.
Is that the token with the logo is the van with want some candy on the side?
The white panel Predator van.
Exactly.
No, I still like those GIFs from Doki Doki, like the Pump It one and then the Lambo girl. I still like those.
Yeah.
Fun.
Here's what I realized when I was talking to them. Not only am I trying to push him down that path on the API side and getting a lot more partners integrated, but this is really almost a Trojan horse model, right? Because when you start going to developers and saying, hey, you can have this swap capability, this cross-chain, seamless cross-chain capability to get people onboarded into your protocol, that's going to open up developers' minds to, well, wait a minute. If Fusion is EVM compatible, it has all these capabilities built into it, and I can take money from any chain, and it doesn't matter what fucking chain my protocol's on. It doesn't matter. Right. It matters not, because except for fees and speed, it doesn't really matter, and they're all pretty much the same at this point. So what happens? Developers go, well, shit, I get all this capability on Fusion. I get all these capabilities from the Chainge swap capabilities that are using the cross-chain capabilities of Fusion. Why don't I just develop and launch my EVM compatible app on Fusion? And then I don't give a shit about the rest of the chains, because I can take money from all of those chains and people can be on my protocol. Right now, you're at a point where we've talked about in the past, this
layer zero,
the seamless integration of chains. Right now, no protocol developer has to give a shit about where that user has been before, or where their money is, because now it's click of a button and you're on my chain and you're on my protocol, right? So all of those barriers to adoption on this chain go away. So I can still say on Ethereum, or I can keep my protocol on Polygon, but I don't have to launch it on any other chains, because now I got one-click access to any chain's money.
So you remember we talked a couple of weeks ago about, because of phantoms, like speed of transactions and relatively not overloaded network, at least these days. Sorry, I didn't mean that as a smart ass comment. I'm sorry. That was just a state of the world statement. Okay. Everybody's there. But what I wondered is, like, when we talk about the cross chain lending and AMMs and all of that stuff and swapping, it seemed like that would be a good base chain to come from, to have all of your stuff there, because the maneuvering around inside the platform is not going to be as expensive. But then port on Chainge to whatever, like say Geist, for example. I don't know, they don't really do any swapping, but let's pick another one, Spirit Swap. Okay. I mean, could there be a way that this is hooked up where people from Chainge is hooked to Spirit Swap on Phantom, and that anybody wanting to come into those liquidity pools from any layer 1 or layer 2 or layer 0 can seamlessly just access and operate from that base?
Exactly. All their straight.
Simone, if you're listening at Phantom, think about this, okay?
Well, I mean, and here's the problem. It does for Phantom. It means that the chain itself almost becomes irrelevant, because now Fusion is doing all the work. But
on that part, on the going out and the coming in, but internal, you would still have all of that.
Of Phantom. Yeah, like, look, if Phantom continues to improve their speed, then sure, integrate Chainge and encourage all the protocols to use Chainge, because now there's easy onboarding into protocols that are staying on Phantom. But Phantom then has to give incentives for these developers to stay there. So what do incentives look like? Pay me, right? Give me a cut of fees I generate. Give me better tools. Give me superior performance. Those kinds of things. Yeah, you're right. That actually is not a bad idea, is to say, let's leverage this capability of this DEX that has this seamless cross-chain capability and make people in Phantom use it, while we'll continue to improve what we offer and encourage and incentivize developers to stay on Phantom. right? Now, on the other side, I think Fusion now has a compelling argument. If they launch, incentives to move your DApp to Fusion, it's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Because you're getting performance, low fees, and you get this seamless capabilities and all the additional capabilities of their token infrastructure, which are in this thread, that you don't get on any other chain.
Yeah, that's really good point. I mean,
it's really interesting. It's to me, I can't imagine having a protocol and not integrating Chainge into it. I can't think of a downside, right?
Yeah, and also for the listeners, I was looking at their market cap to TVL ratio. We talk a lot about, well, we haven't lately, but if you go to DeFi Llama, we like to sort there and see what the average is of all the top players. And then you can see, hey, is your interested party above or below the mean of that? Well, theirs is 0.07. So they got 135 million in TVL Chainge. And the market cap, I think, is just between 9 and 10 million.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Market cap to TVL ratio of Chainge. It's like a 0.07.
Yeah.
So, 9 million market cap roughly and 135 million in TVL roughly. Now, if you look at the other chains and their I was looking at DeFi Llama a few weeks ago and I couldn't find that ratio anymore. The new version, I just have to dig it out. But look at the average of, say, the top 20 and their market cap to TVL ratio. Is it showing?
Well, volume/TVL. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm looking at market cap to TVL. They're
market cap to TVL. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know where that was. That was chain based, wasn't that chain?
Yeah, I think that was on the chain section in DeFi Llama, wherever that. It's changed a little bit. I couldn't. Yeah, there you go. There it is. Okay, so look at those ratios. 4 on Ethereum.
Yeah.
Chainge is 0.07. So that means Ethereum is trading at 4 times its TVL.
Right.
So when I see anything, well, what are the other ones? Just so I don't pick the biggest one. I see where's most of them are over 1, right? Well, no, 0.88. Tron is 0.88. 0.11 is Optimism. Most of them are over 1. So a 0.07 look, so if you're looking at these and you're an institutional investor and you're allocating or you're an index fund, I'm not saying they're here, but this is what they would do. They would look at this ratio and you would wait to the ones that were under it if you thought they could execute on their business or they had something cool, because they're going to attract TVL. Yeah. And when that starts happening, then you're going to see people buy token, market cap go up. Yep. So, look at those that are under the average over there. And, this is a small one. It's in our moonshot category. It has a great leader, great track record of execution. Tokens are fine. I think they must issue them as the platform's running because they're right on the max supply or something.
That's supply, 814 million.
That's all there is. Okay.
Burning.
They're all out.
Yeah.
So, there's no distribution there, no dilution. So when I look at stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, this is worth to me, it's got all the stuff that you would want that could turn into something.
Look at this. Only 2 protocols on the chain. 137 million TVL.
What's the other one's Chainge, right? Chainge is one, and there's one other one.
I don't know what they're listing as the other one. They only list Chainge.
Okay, all right. So maybe the main one is a protocol.
I will say this: in Chainge, there is
click Chainge. Click Chainge real quick, please.
There's staking. There is futures. There's all kinds of shit within the app, right? So,
forked from Uniswap.
Now this is interesting. This would indicate to me that there's one large depositor propping up a lot of this TVL.
It's probably DJ, right?
Yeah, maybe so. But they have their community is friggin' fervent, man. When I started talking about them on the show, people fucking came at me.
Well, when I shared your Mission DeFi episode to a dialogue going on about him, it just blew up.
Yep.
The thread. They're all watching that show.
Yeah.
So engagement rates were 40% or something on that. So they're very active. And they're looking at everything they can possibly see. So, again, we're not shilling it, but that's the kind of thing that we are looking for.
Yep.
So when we do these lists community on Reddit, don't hesitate to throw in stuff like this that you think is attractive that maybe we haven't talked about.
Chipotle has a great new promotion. You can get 99.95% off their new garlic guajillo steak at Chipotle when you pay with ETH using their Flex ETH integration. Yeah, when the whole point of it is to celebrate the merge, right? So they're celebrating the 99.95 reduction in energy usage, and they get to promote their new steak flavor, and it's promoting Ethereum, and it promotes Flexa HQ, the payment provider that's handling the ETH payments for them. So
yeah,
ETH, you can go get a free steak entree, essentially free. So I thought this was a cute promotion, but I also think it's a great example of real life integration. A company that is not a crypto company actually helping to drive ETH adoption, right? If Flexa HQ makes it simple for people to connect their credit card and buy some ETH, then people are going to do it while they're in the store. And now they've got an ETH wallet because they wanted free steak food. Chipotle. Yeah. So this is the kind of shit I really want to see more of it. Look, Niblet said, staking ETH at Chipotle, brilliant. Yeah, they call it the proof of stake sale, which I fucking love. It's hilarious.
Hey, pull up that story about, it keeps getting buried in the back, but the Walmart Roblox story. Did we talk about that already?
We didn't talk about it.
It's another way of, more user adoption. I mean, we talked about, the Robinhood story, and now here comes 229 million weekly visitors to Walmart heading toward.
And I like that it's digital. I'm trying to find the fucking article.
Oh, it's right here. It's scroll up.
So I've got it open somewhere. Hold on.
All right. It's in the September 27 section of the chat.
No, I know that. I already opened it. I'm just.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck, I opened it. God damn it. There you go. Now, I love. I don't well. I mean, I guess technically it's the metaverse, but Roblox is a centralized, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. My kids have loved Roblox and used it. I spent a lot of money in Roblox.
I get your point.
But it's a good step to see a huge company like Walmart saying, I have to be in virtual reality. I have to be in a metaverse world. I need my brand out there. That to me is positive because that means it'll happen in the decentralized plays as well. So I agree totally with you that it's big news. It's a lot of users. It makes a ton of sense. Most of these kids probably shop at Walmart with their parents. So it's brilliant from a marketing perspective, and I'm happy to see it. I just would love to see it also happening in the decentralized world as well. And I think I think Walmart's going to enter this the safe way, right? Which is, no pun intended, safe way.
That's an American joke.
But I think they're going to do it the safe way, which is to go to this centralized provider that has all the checks and balances and has all the payment security and protects children and all that good stuff, right? This is a child-oriented atmosphere. But it says to me, Walmart's really willing to invest the money to have a presence in virtual worlds, in metaverses. So that's a really positive thing.
Yeah, and what I'm curious about is, there are two experiences. Walmart, look, I used to rail on Walmart all the time 25 years ago, because it was just destroyed all these small towns. And everybody wonders why nothing's going on in small town America. Well, Walmart killed it off.
Walmart's a huge part of the reason.
And you see the counties where Walmart then closed that store, and what comes in behind that? The only thing that's left. Can you name the store?
Dollar Tree.
There you go. One of those.
Yeah.
So, it's like, and these counties are just destroyed, and they're pissed off. You want to know where the economic populace are? They're there.
Yeah. Well, they're starving.
They're pissed. But aside from Walmart and the 800-pound gorilla shit, they're entering the metaverse with two experiences: Walmart Land and Walmart's Universe of Play. In the gaming platform. I'm wondering, are they doing like NFT land parcels in there in Walmart Land?
Is Walmart Land a separate metaverse?
I think it is.
No, it's in Roblox.
Yeah, within it's carved out in Roblox. Yes.
Beauty items that are sold at the retailer store and website is Walmart Land.
Okay, so it's basically the store.
Yeah, well,
it's like shopping online for Walmart.com basically, but you do it within that metaverse, and you walk down aisles and maybe see product and then push buttons and you get it in the real world.
it's like, hey, girls, come play in this world, build with our products, but we just want you to see them so that when you go shopping with mom, you ask for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's where all the kids are, right?
Yep. So they've hosted shoppable live stream events on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, Pinterest. So they're filing metaverse-related trademarks. Good sign. Very good sign.
But that a behemoth like that, trust me, is under the constant purview of regulators from every single possible agency you could think of, and they still see that the risk of doing nothing in metaverse or say in those spaces is too high, that they have to make some kind of move. So they pick a safe move, like you said, Roblox, centralized, like you said, all the child protection. So they don't have a stupid F up in the first go around, where somebody gets harmed by it. This is, I'm talking about the fringy stuff. I'm not talking about like normal, just a mistake.
Yeah.
And, this is like the safe corporate move for them.
Yeah.
But it brings customers to our world. Yeah.
Hertz will be the dominant rental car company in the United States within 5 years. Guaranteed. They're making this balls ass move in the middle of a bear market. They're expanding the charging infrastructure for the entire country and probably worldwide at some point. They're buying up EVs left, right, and right. They will dominate. They will dominate. They will kill. They'll reduce their expenses. They'll reduce their costs. They'll be able to provide users and renters a better experience. So the reason I'm saying that is this headline says Hertz is teaming up with oil giant BP to install thousands of EV chargers in the U.S. Those chargers will be available to fleets, and those chargers will be available to Hertz rental car customers, as well as, if I'm not mistaken, consumers.
Yep, you're right.
Public as well. So
this is a
brilliant move. Think about it. All these Hertz offices are going to have these chargers in front, and so people are going to go there to charge. What brand is going to sit in their head? Oh, I can get an EV when I go to California on vacation, right? I'd rather have an EV. It's going to cost me a lot less in gas.
But you know what I like about it? That concept you just said, Brad, is that it's creating now. I mean, this is the charging of the cars and all of that is something that is kind of a pain in the ass right now, but it's going to go away in a while. But what this really does is it creates these communities of everybody else that has to charge their car, and they're all sitting there charging. And what are they doing? They're on their phone or something like that, or they're looking for something else to be productive. But it kind of creates a blended community between real world and digital world, in the sense that people have to physically cluster to charge.
Yep.
And while they're there, they're doing other things. I mean, I think it's this is the kind of move that could almost be like a Starbucky move.
Hey, put a Starbucks or a coffee shop in next to your fucking Hertz rental car place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Charging, they're buying coffee, they're talking, your brand looks good,
That's the play. I mean, I thought, but also I was really surprised when I read this article was that BP, which we all know who BP is, they have a huge group doing these, non-fossil fuel or electric type green charger networks, which I was really surprised. So there's one example of a big oil fossil fuel company that is making a transition to the next technology on their own, and they're looking to lead vis-a-vis Mobil, Exxon, all the others. That's pretty intriguing to me. Because
it's all of this in the middle of a down market. I mean, I fucking love the aggression. I love the fucking aggression. I think it's going to harm the rest of the rental car companies significantly. Niblet says self-driving might actually work well for physical fleet management on site for a fully automated rental solution. Yep. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Just-in-time cars instead of maintaining. Think about it this way. The vision of Tesla was ultimately that all of the cars would be owned by some people, but they would be part of a massive international fleet of click a button on your phone and get a car from your neighbor, or click a button on your phone and get a car from the rental company down the street. Well, Hertz is going to be in a position to be on demand rentals instead of daily and weekly rentals, right? So that could be for fleets, that could be for anything. So I mean, we're a little bit crypto here, but I definitely love the second
No,
one.
no, but look, yeah, it's a little off, but it ties in because, when you think about it, to Niblet's point, shit, man. Like what are those like Zip Car and Go Car and all those little ones you find them parked on streets?
Are they
What if
still?
they set up all these little mini things where they got like 6 to 10 chargers and there's cars already there?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can just roll up, scan your app, and you're off.
Go. Yeah, and that was one of the earliest use case arguments for smart contracts was rental car automation, which is one of the first use cases for smart contracts was I'm going to be at what's his name? Is it Adam Beck or the other guy? I can't remember which one wrote it up, but that was one of the use cases was that, you come up, you unlock, you buy the car with your crypto, you unlock the car, boom, you get in and you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much you use it, you return it to a charging station somewhere else or where you were, and you're back at it. So Sean says, until someone spends some serious bucks on grid infrastructure, this won't end well. Well, I mean, I think that's potentially true, but there are places in the U.S. where it shouldn't be a problem. Texas wouldn't be a great place for this, but other than that, Zabo, it was Zabo's prime case. You're right, Niblets. Thank you. That's the one. That's the one I was referencing. Nick. So awesome stuff. All right. This was interesting how you were talking about people, Brett Harrison leaving FTX US today. Well, the guys at Yunt actually did they do a weekly tweet thread of what's going on in the news. Oh. And they made the point, along with Frank Chaparro, that big guys are leaving all over crypto. Jesse Powell at Kraken, Michael Morrow of Genesis, Brett Harrison of FTX, Alex Mashinsky of Celsius, because he has to, Sam Trabocco of Alameda. So, it is interesting that they're all leaving. I don't know if they're all cashing out or if they're all just getting out before the investigators knock on the door. I don't know.
Yeah, two things. One, it's totally normal to replace like founding management with more boring, conservative, administrative management when they get to scale, because, entrepreneur and visionaries don't want to do paperwork. Yep. But there are people that want to do that shit and don't want to look up and take on challenges. They just want to focus, the more introverted types. So it makes sense that you would bring in people that can execute. So I think that's part of it. But also I think that, everybody there could potentially have some kind of exposure to regulators in some way, shape, or form. Absolutely. So maybe, depending on what people are going to do, how far they're going to go, and it makes sense to move on. Take your chips off the table, redeploy your assets into something else, and go think about the last 5 years of your life and all the stuff that was a problem, and go fix that in your 2.0 incarnation. So I think it's kind of normal, but also I don't know how it works with these companies, but a lot of times, when you have in your employment clause, if you're, a CXO type, is that, any change in senior leadership or some kind of material event accelerates everybody's options to vesting and stuff. So there might be a move here on like that too. So it unlocks everybody's tokens. I wouldn't put that past people. But also they might just be bored and want to do something else. Yep. The environment's tough out there. I can see how these guys would be reeling after 7 months. Mashinsky in particular, that guy is just, smart dude.
Smart dude, but a total fucking bonehead when it came to.
Started in New York. He's already exposed because he operated in New York for years, then moved to Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
So, and now he's in bankruptcy court where they're going to just dig through every friggin' text and email and look for anything. It kind of makes your sense. Do your deal with FTX, get indemnified, and sail off into the sunset.
Yep. Hey, Jack Mahler of Strike is a arrogant asshole Bitcoin maximalist, but the guy fucking kills it. And I got to tell you, anybody in the payment space, anybody that is not paying attention to the way Strike works, the functionality of that, the use of the Lightning Network, the adoption of the average Joe for Bitcoin and Lightning in all kinds of fintech applications, don't fucking sleep on this motherfucker because he kills it. This guy is killing it. So he just raised another $80 million They've released an API so people can hook into their system. They don't charge anybody anything for use of this system. Maybe on the API side they are not, but the man is unfucking believable. The way they have cranked on building this application, and I watch it, is astounding. And after the other day of watching the guy from LN Bits and Maker Bits on Peter McCormick's show, what Bitcoin did, and all of the really cool shit being built on Lightning, I got to tell, everybody in the non-Bitcoin space, you better start paying attention to this shit, because this is another layer and another world that is the first point of attack. Like, we're all in the sophisticated financial applications, smart contracts, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? The first fucking thing people care about is paying for shit in the money world.
Easily.
And Stripe isn't fucking around. Lightning is growing, and the use cases for Lightning are growing. Those guys at LN Bits rolled out open source code that you could slap in a box, and they even are going to sell the hardware plans. You could slap in a box, put it on your wall in your bar, and you've got a Bitcoin fucking ATM that'll accept cash. Like, I mean, and it costs you like $6 in parts to do it. And the code is open sourced. Look, I love all the things we're doing in our smart contract world. I love all the shit we're doing in DeFi. I think we have, tons of incredible potential to change the world, but paying for shit is the thing, right? So,
well, it's the use case.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a use case. And this is the thing that, how many times we see these jokes on LinkedIn or Twitter, it's like, oh yeah, but can you buy a beer with it? You're like, who the fuck would want to, first of all, but it's like, they're like saying it's not usable, but we all know that's not the truth.
I think we're going to see Sean setting up a fucking 3D printing facility and manufacturing ATMs and just installing them in every pub he visits in Ireland and London. What do you think?
Brad looks like how I see the world after some time in the pub.
Yeah, my camera was out of focus.
Oh yeah, you got your Barbara Stanwyck filter going. I don't know if everybody, I've said this before, but there was a show in the U.S., Ponderosa or Big Valley, I think. There were two of them similar, and Barbara Stanwyck, this aging actor, female actor from days gone by, she was old. So they had this like filter on. So it was like all like washed out. Yeah. And that's what you look like, Brad, sometimes. So I know you're really 78, right?
Exactly.
Hey, one question before we move on. I saw a comment from Sean about Jack. And what I was curious about here is, you said he's a BTC maxi, okay? Yes. But we always hear let me finish. We always hear all this shit from all of them about, oh no, DeFi, none of this. I mean, not Sean, of course. Sean is the leader over there in the BTC space. But I wonder if he says this just to keep the BTC maxis at bay, like his virulent, you know what I mean?
He doesn't have to, because everything he does is pure Bitcoin.
But I mean, a lot of people don't like Lightning. They say it's not.
Love it because it gives them, they've accepted it now. It gives them.
Oh, they have. Okay, got it.
No, I mean, I'm sure there are some fucking cultists that don't, but for the most part, the potential of Lightning is huge. Now, it's still a convoluted system and it's still clunky as fuck, but it's functioning. And this guy's building a multi and will be multi-billion-dollar company on it.
I just find it interesting how that
arrogant asshole, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, I've never listened to him or seen him, but I just hear we talk about DeFi on Bitcoin, that might be the way it has to go. But then we say, oh, but it can't happen. And other people say, oh, yes, it can. And there's a debate going on in there. And so I look at this and I'm like, yeah, finally, now you got a system out that the average person can just open the app up and do shit with it and pay for stuff, and without a wallet, with nothing.
They don't even need to know it's Bitcoin. That's the beauty of how he's approaching this, right?
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, you connect your fucking debit card and your wallet. Sean says it's right there. It's simpler to use than Apple Pay.
That's cool.
Fucking simple. This is, again, I'm glad we're all doing all things we're doing. But if you're playing in DeFi, you at least should be looking at Strike's API, because he's onboarding people right now. He's still a niche, but his delivery is brilliant. He's a horrible representative of the company to the rest of the world, because he's just this arrogant, Bitcoiner asshole attitude.
Well, yeah, it's that tech CEO attitude that startups, well, I don't know if it's a startup, but you know, the brashness. They're
Yeah.
coached to like be asshole brash.
Yeah.
And, you know, but that kind of turns me off, to be honest. But then you kind of sit there and you go, well, do I want to give my money to a dickhead who's going to give me more, or do I want to give my money to the nice guy who's going to get fucking fleeced?
Well, and look,
You know?
his arrogance is the only problem with his arrogance is it's going to turn off people who would
Mhm.
strike, who happen to be tuning into CNBC, and he always acts like somebody's attacking him, right? And I think that's part of why Bitcoiners are the way they are, a lot of them angry men, because they do feel like they're always being attacked, because that's been their mode of operation since the beginning. Bitcoin's been under attack. So it's a reasonable thing to feel like that. I just think Jack could start off, you know, not do every interview like he's in a bar brawl. And that's kind of how he acts. So, but at the end of the day, the guy is delivering
Mhm.
a nice piece of tech, a really great user experience. He's dumbed the fuck out of the whole system. You don't even know you're doing Bitcoin if you don't want to. You cannot fault him. So, you know, people should keep an eye on this shit, because the way Bitcoin can win and Bitcoin DeFi can win is get in everybody's wallet in their phone and not give a shit that it's actually Bitcoin, but actually Bitcoin is all of the rails, all the underlying shit that's happening. That's once he has billions flying through this thing, then you can leverage that into a ton of other shit, you know? So anyway,
How do before we go, we got a couple minutes. How does like Sovereign and is it Stacks and Sovereign? Sovereign's the other one, I think. The DeFi plays on Bitcoin. How do those match up with Lightning and
well, it doesn't.
this?
It's a completely different, like, you know, Stacks calls
Yeah.
it side chain. Sovereign is probably a layer 1, a layer 2 side
Okay.
chain, whatever. So they are functioning as proof of stake smart contracts on the side of or on top of Bitcoin. Lightning resides as a separate network to the side of, on top of Bitcoin, but requires this peer-to-peer infrastructure of nodes that send money from one node to another node to another node. So it's a bit clunky in the way it it functions. So my assumption is Strike is probably putting up thousands of nodes all over the world and managing it. Anyway, so
Well,
that's a fundamental difference.
let's close on Chizzy's question.
Is there a way to make money on this Lightning play besides owning Bitcoin? Well, you can have a node. Nodes collect fees for transactions. From what I understand from Sean, Liquid is primarily institutional level, and I believe has shitcoins that are used to represent value. That is a sidechain to Bitcoin, but Sean can speak to that much better than me. Long time ago I looked at Liquid, but I haven't looked at it since.
So the ones to look at in this space then would be Liquid, Stacks, and Sovereign, and you know, obviously something with Strike. If you're looking to like commercialize BTC or other applications for BTC other than a store of value.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
Shizzy, set up nodes at a VPS. You can make money on the node if your node traffics a lot of transactions, right? So what you want to do is connect yourself up a Lightning node up to as many other nodes as possible, right? And I don't know the mechanics of doing that, but that's how it works. If your node has a ton of flow, then you're going to collect Bitcoin for being one that gets traversed a lot, because you have as many connections as possible off your node, which is what I assume Strike is doing partially for their revenue stream, is building out this massive node network, which, you know, at some point people will say, wait a minute, one company owns 70% of the Lightning nodes. That's not good, you know? So I don't know. Yeah. Sean said Lightning nodes earn freeze. Niplet says, can we do a show on earning with nodes? Any project? Yeah. I mean, we can talk about proof of stake and those kinds of nodes. Sean could probably come on and talk about Lightning nodes, how you earn money on there. Sean, you want to come on tomorrow?
But Brad, you were doing a ton of node stuff a few years ago. What were we calling those nodes?
Master nodes.
Master nodes. That's right.
Yeah.
So
those were fun. Wish I had that back.
But the point is that Brad will have a lot of experiential content on nodes from his exploration of that.
Harder. Those nodes are a shit ton harder than liquid staking on nodes. Managing nodes on proof of stake is more difficult now, because you can be penalized and have your money taken away from you if you fuck up, right? So you got to know what you're doing. on nodes.
Yeah.
It's quite as stringent with Lightning. I think Lightning is either you're on and you're off. If you're on and money can go through you, it goes through you. But Sean, if you want to come on tomorrow or next week, I'd love to chat with you about it. You can give us a little primer on Lightning nodes if you like. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Joe, it's 1 o'clock and we covered, I think, 5 out of our
57.
Yeah.
Well, it goes the way it goes, because I find that show topics kind of follow up on, what the dialogue is going on Twitter and LinkedIn and those places, or in the media in general. And obviously the topics of the day we want to spend more time on. So it's natural, dude.
Sean's coming on next week. Sean, send me a DM on Telegram. Let's set up a day. Let me know. Appreciate it, buddy. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget too, final thing, Pantera's out raising another $1.25 billion.
Nice.
So that's in my Twitter feed. But closing May of 23, looking to go into more follow-on money for portfolio companies and opportunistic acquisitions.
Are you the lead general partner on the lead limited partner on that? Are you?
No, I don't really know any of those guys. It's funny. I was looking into them during the ICO boom or just after it. And, everybody who's in there, I mean, it's huge money's in there, big name money. And, they were kind of the ones who did all the ICOs, but they settled, I think they settled early because that's what you do. I think it's 150 million or something like that, but I don't know. I'm just trying to remember. There's been so many of these. What?
I got this feeling that either you decided today you were just going to run right the fuck over me and not give a shit what I'm saying.
No, there's a lag. There's a lag, dude.
There's a lag. Yeah. Okay, that's what I meant. That's why I keep asking if you can hear me. Is my voice lagging on my mouth?
Tiny bit, but it's not like you can't understand what you're saying. It's just because of the storm and the electrical power. Yeah.
Institutional investors, SEC.
Well, look, man, gotta say you're sorry, man.
Wait. Project founders, SEC.
Investors. Bye-bye.
Sean, Niblets, Shizzy. That's everybody today, right? Wow, we had a lot of chats going on, though. Thank you, guys. Great discussions today. I love the questions you ask. I love the things you bring up. I love the ideas. I also love your factual checks with us.
Yeah.
Everybody go to Chipotle and buy that fucking steak thing with ETH so they do more of that shit. That's the kind of shit we should be encouraging, the good behavior of corporations. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening and watching. Please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, where you can now rate as well. Please send our primary link, missiondefi.com, to other folks. And please visit our Reddit, where you can post your top 10 tokens over there. Love to hear your analysis. There's so many smart people in our community and our listenership that we appreciate it. So I'm out, Joe.
Yeah, my final thing is, I put all those reports in the that Reddit as well. But there's a link in there. I don't know, seems obvious to me, but they're in a Google Drive folder. You got to click that Drive link, and they're all there. All the metaverse stuff, the McKinsey reports,
Nice.
KPMG, all that kind of, they're boring big companies, but they do really good analysis. So you might not believe in what they're saying, but you still want to know what they're thinking.
I just listened to an interview with a founder of Electric Capital, which is a crypto VC fund.
Yeah.
And he was listing off all this amazing research on their website. So it's on my list to go check out as well. So, all right, buddy,
these are long reports. You're going to pick and choose what you want. There's 70 pages. So, but there's a lot of good nugs in there. So I encourage people to look at it. If there's anything you want to see, let me know. And I'll, from particular research groups, I'll look for that and put it in too.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.